So today I'm going to talk about the internet. What is the internet and how it works? And I'll do this by drawing an analogy based on shopping malls, because everybody knows what a shopping mall is, and it is a great way of explaining some of the key concepts that it involves. So this is you, you're going to say, and you are interested in going to the mall. So we're going to pretend that this is a mall, this big building right here. This is a mall. And in the mall, there's multiple different levels because it's a multi-story mall. And there's also multiple stores because that's what happens at a mall. There's multiple stores in a mall, okay? And now that you have a mall, there's a few things that are very similar when it comes to the internet and a mall altogether. Now, first of all, a mall has an address. So let's say that this mall is on 123 Main Street, M-A-I-N, Main Street, okay? And city, whatever the city is and whatever, blah, blah. So that's the address of the mall, all right? And so in the mall, once you get to 123 Main Street, the stores normally have sort of a number or obviously a name attached to them. Each store has a name, but we're gonna, just for the sake, we're gonna put a number. So we're gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so these are all the different stores. And we'll say that this is a shoe store. We'll just put an S there for a shoe store. This is a clothing store. This is an ornament store. That's an O. Let's say there's a bank in the mall that you can do your banking. There's also, I don't know, some other type of store, maybe a post office, right? There's lots of other different stores, but this should be enough for what we need it for. All right, so you would come to this mall somewhere you would maybe take a taxi to get to the mall, and you'd give the taxi the address. Say I want to go to 123 Main Street, and so you'd come to the mall. And then once you get into the mall, you maybe look on the board on the mall, and then you would say, okay, I want to go to the store now, the shoe store. So you go to the shoe store, you check out some shoes, maybe you make a purchase. You go to a clothing store, and you also, might do some purchase there. You said, oh, you know what, I need some ornaments for my friend. So you go to the ornament store and you go do that, and so on and so on. Maybe you need to do some banking. So you go up the stairs and you do some banking, right? So this concept is very familiar with everyone. I don't need to explain this any further. The point here is that when you're going from store to store, the concept that I want to take away here is that what you're actually doing is browsing, browsing. And you're browsing for stuff, right? Now, in the same way that you're browsing the mall, when you are on the internet, this word sounds familiar, instead of, because the internet is digital, there's no physical location, it's all in a computer. Really and truly, this is a keyboard, by the way. What you're doing when you're on the internet is you are browsing multiple different locations in the same way you would go to a physical store. So in the back here, what's happening is you would be browsing. So I'm going to put a box here, and this box is going to represent a site, right? So you're going to say site number 1, and this is another site number 2. Same way like how we have the stores, these are all sites. So site number 2, site number 3, site number 4, let's just say. All right, so you could go to site number 1, you could go to site number 2, you could go to site number 3, and so on and so on. So you could browse multiple different sites in the same way that you could browse the stores. So the way, how do you get to these sites is a question. Well, each one of these sites have an address. Just like a number system, they actually do have a number system in the back. The difference is the number is really complicated. And so people can't remember those numbers. Human beings are not ever remembering numbers. So what we have is a way to you get to the website. So instead of it being a number, it's a name. So let's just say that this is Peter Shoe Store. P-E-T-E-R, shoes store. Okay, we'll just won't spell it out, but shoe store. Okay, and then let's just say that this next one here, number 2, is Walmart. W-A-L-M-A-R-T. Right? So each one of them has a name, and let's just say this is your bank. So the bank, I don't know, maybe TD Bank, B-A-N-K. Right? Whatever bank it is, you could say Chase or whatever it is. Doesn't really matter here. And for the last one, we'll say it's Amazon, A-M-A-Z-O-N. Okay, so these are all different stores, just like how you have regular stores. And so the way how you get to it is you basically type in the name of the store that you want to, all right? But in order for you to get to the specific store, let's say you wanted to get to store number 9, you would go to the board and you would walk up a specific direction and get to that specific store. So instead of typing Peter's shop, right, you would type in an exact address. And so to do an exact address on the internet, basically what it is, you put a www in front of it, www.petershoestore. And you put a .com at the end, C-O-M. And that's how you get to the specific address in the same way that you would go to a physical address to the store, all right? So in this case, Walmart, www.walmart.com. TD is www.td.com. Amazon, amazon.com. And this represents an exact URL, or internet address, same way as you have here, a physical address, right? So when you go to the internet, what you're really doing is you're browsing the internet, browsing. You're browsing the internet, and what do you use how do you browse the internet? You use a browser. So a browser, B-R-O-W-S-E-R. So what is a browser? A browser is a program that allows you to browse the internet, right? So maybe in the shopping mall, it might be the equivalent of, I don't know, some sort of car that could allow you to drive around the mall, like a little cart. So that would be like a browser in the physical world, I guess. But in the internet world, you have a browser which allows you to navigate to multiple of these websites and visit them. So that's why a browser is so important. So the next video, we're going to talk about a browser, what it is and how it works, so that it makes a little bit more sense here. All right. So that's all this internet is for what is the internet. And hopefully this makes a little bit of sense to clarify what the internet is and how it works in some general terms. And then we'll start diving deeper into some of the other videos here.